So here's the entire page that has the vanishing points kind of going off higher, so it's not really matching with the background. But here's the piece. I can Command Tab to toggle to the Illustrator file, which is right here. Okay. And if you remember, I drew these lines, but I can also put them in as ruler guides. Just go to Command R to get the ruler guides, and I'm just going to set a guide for the all top sides of the panels, because I don't necessarily need that panel, but I'm still going to put a ruler guide there. And gives me this part. So now I can turn off the layer. Here's the layers that has that section on it. So here's the piece and the scan behind it. So the nice thing with the guides, at least, is that it has that section on it, that layer. So again, it'll give me that piece. So I can always take these metal pieces. I can go to View, Guides, and lock the guides. That way I can lock these graphics and just select all this. And I'll just go to Object and hide it. Okay. So now you can see the blue guidelines there. I'll get on the layer that I need to that has the graphic. Just take the tool that's there. I can always bring that across. If I do keep the parts that have the object, because it is one piece, so if I do keep all these on here, here's the part again that selects them, and I can just make this a little bit smaller, 1 point, and if you remember, you can change this to a light color. So I'm just going to change them to blue. Okay. So to select everything on both layers, just hold the Shift key, and the little icon over here for the target will let me select all of these. These pieces I don't need, so I can Shift key them, and you can see the overall bounding box gets smaller. And just copy it, Command C or Edit Copy, and then just Command Tab to go right back into Photoshop. And I'll just give myself a new layer and Command V Paste. And remember, I have 4 options. In this one, I'm just going to use pixels because I just want to start to work with them as they come in. And this gives me that section. So it's pretty large. I'm just going to minimize it down a little bit. Option and Shift keeps it scaled down to the center, and hit OK. And all I need to do is just to grab the 2 parts that I need. So for this case, I'm just going to do one thing. I'm going to duplicate the layer. I always like to do that just in case I lose something. And I could just grab this section right here, like so. And under Layer, just go to New and Cut. So now, if I hide this, I have these pieces up at the top here. I think I missed a little bit, so I'm going to just trim this off. No big deal. Okay. And now I can take, this is all on, if I hide the background, you can see the transparent pixels right behind it. Okay. So here I'm just going to grab this section right here and do the same. Layer, New, and cut it. So now I have all the parts I need, just 2 pieces. I'm just going to do both panels. Okay. If I look back at the sample that has this, it's just distorting it a little bit on either side, makes it real easy to simulate the perspective. So with the left panel right here, I just free transform it. If I have the transformation keys on it as well, it'll show. And I can just use, this is just with the Command key held down, the Command Shift key held down, and the Option, so you can hold these presets together. That's the skewing. So when you have Command Option Shift, it allows you to distort it that way. When I let go, I can grab the center one to shorten it up a bit so the width isn't so distorted. And you can see these 2 lines would make a vanishing point, and I'll demonstrate that as well. Do the one on the right, so Command Option Shift, and again just kind of squeeze it in a little bit to make it fit, and hit Return. Okay. So the idea of the parts with the vanishing point, if I take a brush and minimize this down a bit, you can see that I can continue that piece across. So let's see if it'll work. It won't show the page because it's going to go off this section here, but it's trying to get you along that line. So these two lines would end up over here. So I can give myself a ruler guide to simulate the horizon line that these two images would then meet at, right from here to here. So it gives you that section to it. I can always make the page bigger as well. So just to give the background, I'm going to make a new layer. It is behind it, and just go ahead, I'll just grab a color. Now the colors are kind of warm colors, so I'm just going to go for a cool background into the back. If you take a look, if you want to simulate this, it's dark to light with a dark base to it. So here's the gradient, X to default it, dark to light. So it's coming up there, and if it's too dark, just start your point of entry a little further outside the box there. And then just draw this section here, and again, depending on the coloring, will give you a value. So it's trying to look at the color complements of the blue. Could be lighter, I can always go back and fix that, but just want to show you the reflective piece. So once you have that, there's the section to it. We can shade it later, but here's the right panel. Okay, so just going to duplicate it, grab the bottom one, make sure auto select isn't turned on, and just set it down there for a second. So you can see that's there, edit, transform, flip it vertical, and now you have this section right here. Now just to keep it parallel, I'll command minus it down. This allows me to grab this section here. Holding the option key lets you expand it. Command key lets you bring it up. And just touch it up there. So it's pretty much parallel to this segment down below. Go ahead and hit return and do the same for the side panel. Duplicate that layer. Edit, transform, flip it vertically, and I just grab the bottom one again. Just going to drop this down, and again hold the command key to let you adjust it. The shift key lets it keep it vertical. Okay, make sure you didn't have the other one done. So here's the piece. I had the other one highlighted. So just drop it down, pre-transform it with the command key down, and bring it right up there. Okay. Now with these two that are reflected, just go ahead and change the opacity down. So here it is. If you have trouble, you can use auto select. It'll click right on there and let you grab that piece. So for the most part, that's what you're trying to get, and anything I can modify from there, I can change as well. So I'll come back and we'll do some shading and extra things, but see if you can't get to that level with that part.